It's 33 degrees and a winter storm warning, so hopefully the snow will be gone soon. Oh my gosh, it doesn't do much for my motivation for getting out and filming. Welcome. This is crazy. Got to make my way down to the Casita. As you can see, I've got some stuff in hand, stuff and things. Cool thing about a Casita, and we're going to talk about that when I get down here in the trailer, is that since they never change really, you can go on their website and order parts, which I have in hand. So let's get after it. And I may even talk a little bit today about why specifically we chose this trailer, or this type of trailer, and this one specifically. So without further ado, we will be entering the trailer here pretty soon. Sorry, I'm going to slip and break my neck on camera here, but we're almost there. As you can see, maybe there's the Casita, or snow. Oops. I hope I just didn't break that. All right, well, everything's where I left it last week. Welcome. My name's John. I'm sitting aboard my 1999 Casita camp trailer, and I thought I'd talk to you for a few minutes about some planned upgrades, and hopefully this will be better than last time because, well, I have light on me this time, and it's not this dark, shadowy, middle-aged, wrinkled up dude. So what did we do this last week? We ordered some parts. So we have the 99 Casita. We bought it up as a fixer-upper. We bought it a couple weeks ago. So far, I've been pleasantly surprised. The furnace we got working without too much issue. The fridge worked basically as it should. However, it's an older trailer. It's 24 years old, I think. I'm not good at math. So 24 years old, roughly. It has some little marker lights, and we're going to get into for the front that we ordered up. It's got this little furnace furnace cover. If you watched last week's video, you'll realize that my forced air propane furnace doesn't have a cover on it. It's also missing a wood trim piece, which I'm either going to have to fabricate or purchase. And many thanks to my friend Mike, who also has a YouTube channel, who offered me a bunch of wood. He does more homesteading type stuff, and he also has access to a van accessory place where they have a bunch of high quality, like marine type interior cabinet grade lumber, and he gets kind of their scraps. So I think some of that will be employed in this project at some point. What else did we get? Oh, we got the level right there. I haven't installed those. There's like 2 feet of snow outside right now, I'll be honest with you. I'm not super excited about getting out there doing a bunch of projects. It's like 35 degrees, but my daughter's in the house, who you met last week on the JL project, and she's making food for her potluck tomorrow at work. And so this is kind of my little fortress of solitude, if you will. So this is my escape room. If you know, some people may sympathize with that. So what we have here is a 1999 Casita, as I mentioned before. It has a full-sized wet bath, or for a 16 or 17 foot trailer, it has a full-size, generously sized wet bathroom up front, which is out of view. We have a very large, again, I believe this is a Dometic ammonia absorption refrigerator, which works. We have a functioning propane forced air gas RV furnace, which works. I'm not super in love with that, but it is what it came with. And so what to expect from this channel in the coming weeks is Casitas appears to be really good at supporting their trailers. We ordered up shelves for their refrigerator. They're pretty famous for breaking on the forums, and so those shelves have been replaced. I installed 2 of them just now. They're the door shelves that go on they kind of hook. They're plastic. They're kind of, you know, they're RV fridge shelves. I don't know what to tell you. They're not, you know, this isn't a chef's refrigerator. So anyway, I did replace those. And they snapped right in. This is the cool thing I'm finding out about Casitas. They have a very supportive kind of online network, to include the manufacturer, Casita doesn't make any earth-shattering changes to their design, so if you have a 1999 like I do, it appears that you can buy stuff for your trailer direct from the factory that still fits. I think probably because they still build the same trailer in exactly the same layout, which is kind of cool. The rear bed is going to, you can't see it, but I can. It's right here to my right, and it's folded down into bed mode and will probably remain so. I want to kind of explain myself and Dana and I's thought process in purchasing not only a Casita, but this specific Casita, and kind of our parameters in travel. Like I go on YouTube all the time and watch overlanding channels and RV travel channels and just regular travel channels and things like that. And if you're watching this video, you may find yourself in the same boat. And what you'll realize if you actually start crunching the numbers is everything's if you're experienced in life like I am, you'll realize that everything's a compromise. I can't think of a thing that I own or do that at some level is not a compromise. So us purchasing a Casita, and this specific Casita, was a compromise. And let me kind of lay out our thought process. So Dana and I decided that upon my retirement, which is imminent, we will, while we're still kind of young enough, and hopefully we'll be young for a long time, but that's a different issue. So we will embark on some kind of adventure travel. And we've done, to Dana's credit, she's put up with my crazy, hey, let's drive off-road across the state of Oregon, that sort of stuff. And that can get pretty, not savage, but I mean, let's face it, if you're just in a truck with a tent and driving on dirt roads for 6 to 8 hours a day, that can kind of wear a girl out. So while she's on board with camping in the wilds and has a lot of experience doing it, she had some asks, and I think that they were pretty reasonable. And one of the asks was that we have a place to live versus the back seat of my Bronco, which apparently is, good for a day or two, but if we're going to be out for a month or two, and I totally see her point. So I started noodling around. We had some other criteria. Another criteria was we did not want to change vehicles. We own what we have. I have my old Bronco, which is in pretty good shape. She has her brand new Toyota 4Runner, and so we're either going to live out of those vehicles or we're going to find some accommodation to take with them. And I'm not a terribly good trailer tow dude. However, even I, with my kind of simpleton mentality, can pull off towing a 16, 17 foot trailer. Not a huge deal. I live in the Pacific Northwest. As you could, if you could see what I can see now, where it's raining and snowing, and we have a foot of snow in the yard on March 26th of 2023, you realize, and I've had RVs before and tried to park them outside in my neighborhood, and it does not work. You have to have a small enough RV or some accommodation for that RV to be inside when you're not using it. And so a Casita kind of fit that bill. We looked at vans. We looked at building a van. And so I kind of have parameters that I've self-imposed. I think at some point I am capable of building an RV, but being capable of doing it and it turning out good, like my projects don't typically turn out exactly like I had them in my mind. So that's not really a thing. Like, I'm not buying some old cargo van and with unknown mechanical issues. And how many van builds have you seen, or RV builds on YouTube have you seen where it all went just hunky-dory? Zero. None of them, unless they didn't publish that part. Every van life person I've followed has issues mechanically with their car, as I would probably have if I set out with my Bronco. And so we did not want to switch up vehicles. At least if the Bronco breaks, I know what's likely to break, and it's kind of weak points. And then the 4Runner, it's a 2022. It better not break, or I'm going to be super upset. But what sort of travel do we want to do? We typically dry camp, not in campgrounds, and we do Forest Service roads and things like that. And we needed a trailer that was going to be somewhat capable. And so while a Casita wasn't designed necessarily per se to be an off-road, off-grid trailer, I think we can lightly modify this, massage it, if you will. And our thinking was, you know, all of this is on a budget. And if you're watching this and planning on something like this, you too will have a budget. It may be bigger than my budget. It may be smaller. And there's a variety. Again, we're getting back to that compromise situation, which I'm happy to say that I think we made the right compromise. So we have a trailer that I can tow with either one of our primary tow rigs, and with some clever, hopefully, modifications that fit my skill set. That was the other thing. You know, I follow these camper builds, van builds, trailer builds, all this stuff. If I have a starting point, you know, if I have what the manufacturer already did and it's replacing parts or troubleshooting parts or maybe even redesigning and modifying parts, that is completely inside my skill set. I have no issues doing that whatsoever. However, if it comes to a ground up build of something, extensive carpentry skills, fabrication skills, I can booger weld stuff together. However, I'm not a metal fabricator per se, other than my little backyard projects. I am not a carpenter of any note. You know, I've carpentered plenty of stuff, but it never comes out exactly right. I always look at the fly. I put a hardwood floor in my house, and you came over, you'd be like, what idiot did this? You know, so I'm just not, that's not my bag. However, I'm capable of like troubleshooting and upgrading existing components like the electrical system in this trailer in the coming weeks and months. We're going to go through that. I've already got the refrigerator going, so that's not a deal. Last week's video was on the furnace, so we will be going in progressive steps. And getting back to my compromise thing, we also considered buying a brand new trailer. We looked at one that was very attractive. I think it's called an Intech, or it's made by Intech. But it's basically a cargo trailer situation with kind of a pop-out tent trailer sidewall, and it looked very appealing, but they're 30 grand. And then there's not a lot of locally. I went to a trailer dealer in Boise last year when we were traveling, and they had a bunch of super cool stuff that is way more off-road capable than what I'm sitting in currently. However, it's $40,000-$50,000. You know, we looked at, well, we went to the local RV show, we went to the Sportsman show, and if you go to an RV show, all they have is massive motorhomes, and they'll have like 5 little trailers. I mean, it's just kind of pointless. But we didn't want a big motorhome. I don't want to tow, you know, I don't want to drive a bus and then tow our drive around rig. You know, and we didn't want to live in a van or a Class C motorhome for the flexibility reasons. You know, I don't want to set up camp and then tear down camp to go to the store or go to a national park or whatever. And I'm just not that comfortable towing medium duty trucks, which is effectively what you're doing when you're driving a Class C. Anybody's capable of doing it, but it's, you know, what's your tolerance really? And so, well, in a Class C motorhome in my area that I could afford for kind of the purchase price of this thing would be pretty old, and it would be rotten. I'll just be completely blunt. And it wouldn't last long here because it rains 100 plus inches a year, and I don't have the ability to store it under cover like I do the Casita. So this thing really fits the bill in a lot of categories. But I want you to know, whoever's watching this, that I just didn't run out and buy this trailer. Well, I did, but there was some thought behind it, right? And hopefully I got a good value. The dude I bought it from seemed pretty fair, and there was some, you know, haggling and negotiating, but we arrived at what I consider a fair purchase price. And if this doesn't work, I think I got it cheap enough that with the upgrades and modifications, I'll probably make a little bit of money, or at least get my money back out of it. You know, if you followed the channel for the last couple months, we have the Jeep actually still sitting behind the trailer. You know, I bought it super cheap. So when I go to sell it, it, you know, will be a cost neutral or make a little money type prospect. But I'm not a flipper type dude. Like, none of these projects do I have my idea of making my living or selling it on at a big price. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm up to today. I thought I'd, like I said, just go through the kind of reasoning behind what we're up to here, and through a couple of the modifications. The caulking outside is atrocious, and I have receipts where the prior owner paid somebody to do it, and it looks like they hired a first grade class to go around with I have no idea how they accomplished what they did, but that's going to have to be redone. And like I said, in the short term, if you're following along, we will be doing not upgrades to this Casita. We will be putting it back to the way it left the factory, as closely as I can get it. You know, meaning systems-wise, decor-wise, that sort of thing. We will get it to that point, we will use it, and we will identify issues, problems, wants, that sort of thing, real and imagined, and then we'll launch into some modifications before we set out next year. Well, if you've watched this long, I appreciate it. And again, these are some of the projects and concerns that we had in purchasing this specific trailer, Casitas in general, kind of what our criteria was. Hopefully I can put this into some sort of linear fashion when I edit it. But again, I really appreciate you watching, and I hope you stay tuned for upcoming projects. I can't really say what's going to be until the weather breaks. I'm not going to spend a ton of time out here messing around with this thing. I don't know about you, but working in the cold, not super appealing to me, but it will get done. And stay tuned. Next week we will be embarking on a new Casita adventure. I don't know what that is, but again, I'm sure I'll film it and make some more marginal content. So I do thank you genuinely for watching. I hope your week goes great, and stay tuned. You guys don't rat me out, but I got a magnet on the side of my Dana's car, so. Yeah, by the way, my neighbors think I'm absolutely insane. Oh yeah, I haven't forgotten the Jeep.